with murder and with manslaughter.
The charges the police officer is facing and what Ohio is doing to try and keep protests peaceful. Help wanted. A local restaurant reveals why they're having a hard time finding workers. A new kind of summer vacation. Why RVs are the big trend for families. Lions, tigers, and monkeys. Oh my. Mike Polk is taking us on a cruise around the zoo. And Friends is one of the most binge-watched shows in Ohio. What everyone else is watching, plus some of the best summer reads coming up. What's New starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Friday. Things are definitely going to be on the up and up as we get toward the weekend. But Mike Polk sitting in for my friend Jay Crawford once again. Hi, Mike. How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm not as great as Jay, who's celebrating a grandbaby. Congrats to him, right?
He is. We'll hear more about that coming up next week. We'll let him make the announcement. Yes. Well, I can't wait for him to get to do that too.
Boy, did I blow that.
That's
Sorry,
all
Jay.
right. He put it on his social media
Betsy, what's the weather
feeds.
look like?
The weather is actually looking a little murky, much like your near-term forecast, Mike Polk. Let's take a look at how the radar is looking right now. We don't have any significant weather that we're talking about, but there is a lot of rain, some heavy downpours that are going on too. These scattered showers will continue to move through northern Ohio as we go through the evening, but from the west, the drier air is also pushing in. Right now, the heaviest rain is out to the east of I-77, just coming into portions of Trumbull County, and it's a swath of moderate rain that is cutting across the I-71 corridor right now. That will continue to move to the east as well. Now, one of the interesting things that the radar can do is actually tell us kind of the rate of the rain as it's coming down. And this becomes a very important part of forecasting any kind of flood potential, whether it be short-term or longer-term flooding. And when you start to see these reds and pinks, this is literally the intensity of the rainfall. That's when we start talking about the possibility of quickly rising water. So just be on the lookout for that. Over the next few hours, things will be getting better for Northeast Ohio. The rain does continue, but once we get into late evening, we'll find the temperatures falling back into the 60s, eventually the 50s. What you don't see there is the much less humid air that is also coming in. I'll have complete details on that part of the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Well, now on your feet at 5, the now former police officer seen kneeling on George Floyd's neck is facing murder charges. Today, Minnesota's safety commissioner announced Derek Chauvin's arrest. This as the city tries to clean up from several days of protests and riots. Hundreds of people cheered as an evacuated police precinct burned to the ground. Other buildings were also destroyed while looters damaged others. Our Brandon Simmons joins us with the latest on this. You've been keeping an eye on this for us, Brandon, and you just learned that the city is taking action to try and curb the riots.
Yeah, they're trying to stop those riots, and what they're doing, the Minneapolis mayor just enacted an 8 p.m. curfew that starts tonight. It will also continue into the weekend to help keep people from being out on the streets. And that announcement came just hours after we learned that former officer Derek Chauvin was charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter.
Early this afternoon, the wheels of justice began to move as Officer Derek Chauvin, who was seen kneeling on George Floyd's neck, was taken into custody. He's the only officer of the 4 fired in this incident facing charges tonight.
He has been charged with third-degree murder.
The initial announcement of Chauvin's arrest made public by Minnesota Public Safety Commissioner John Harrington, who said this just hours before.
I will call it a murder. That's what it looked like to me. I don't want to prejudice this from a criminal perspective, and I'm just calling it what I see at that point.
Leaders across the country are hoping news of charges will bring peace.
Help us use humane way to get the streets to a place where we can restore the justice.
It was another night of chaos on the ground as protesters and fires got out of control. Hundreds cheering as an evacuated police precinct was burned to the ground, while other buildings burned nearby and were taken over by looters. Protests are happening across the country, including here in Ohio. Governor Mike DeWine satisfied by the response of Columbus Police and Ohio State Highway Patrolmen.
Protests expressing outrage are not only understandable, they are appropriate.
Back in Minnesota, police continue to line the streets, now left in ruins. a community battered and on edge, wondering what happens next.
Now, the Floyd family did release a statement earlier today through their attorney, and they say they are not satisfied by the charges that were announced today. They want to see a first-degree murder charge, and they also want to see those other 3 officers arrested and charged as well. So still, of course, more to come with this story, Betsy.
Definitely. We'll keep an eye on that through the weekend. Thank you, Brandon. Well, what happened in Minneapolis is tough for so many of us to watch, but local first responders are watching it from a different perspective. Tiffany Tarpley talked with them today, and they told you, Tiffany, when they talked to you, what was going through their minds?
Yeah, they really did, Betsy. Not only that, but they also talked about some solutions that they are going to be working on. I mean, you're talking about Cleveland police officers, firefighters, even paramedics. They walk these streets every day. And the people I spoke with, the years of service that they have never seen anything like what happened to George Floyd. They have a range of emotions, from sadness to anger. I spoke with the heads of 2 unions here in our area. I asked them, with everything that's happening around the country, what is it like being black men and first responders right now?
Being a police officer is already difficult, is already stressful, some of the things we see and do, just being a public safety, period. But then when you add the element of your race and culture, then that adds a different dynamic.
But I think that we need more Black, African American, Spanish, LG, BTQ officers on the street. I mean, we need diversity, and that's the problem.
Until the good officers, and as many good officers around the country, until they start speaking up against the bad ones, we're going to all get blamed. They're going to all look at it.
So the president of the Black Shield, he says that they are working right now to build that trust in the community, continue to do so, bridging the gap, Betsy, between law enforcement and the community, again, to build trust.
Well, building that trust, and as Captain Thompson said, also building diversity. It's very important in our community. Thank you, Tiffany. Well, we move on to Laura Queso, who's joining me now for more of today's big headlines today. Hi there, Laura.
Hi, Betsy. A lot to get to. Let's start with Twitter because it flagged one of President Trump's tweets regarding the riots in Minneapolis. This is a look at that tweet saying, quote, "These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd." He added, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." Twitter flagged it, saying that it violates the company's rules about glorifying violence. Twitter referenced that phrase, "when the looting starts, the shooting starts," was used by a Miami police chief back in the 1960s who's been denounced as racist. President Trump responded, saying that Twitter is regulating free speech. Now to a developing story for you. Late this afternoon, President Trump withdrew the United States from the World Health Organization. The president has criticized the group's response to the coronavirus and today said he asked them to make improvements, and they have not.
China has total control over the World Health Organization, despite only paying $40 million per year, compared to what the United States has been paying, which is approximately $450 million a year.
Now, the president says he will redirect the WHO's funds to other worldwide and deserving global public health needs. A CNN reporter and crew were arrested live on air last night while covering the Minneapolis protests. Reporter Omar Jimenez and his crew were put in handcuffs after identifying themselves to police. Now, police say they were detained because they were told to move, and they did not. A short time later, the governor got involved, and they were released. Well, this year's 124th annual Cuyahoga County Fair has been canceled. It was scheduled to be held at the Berea Fairgrounds August 11th through the 16th. Fair officials say it's just not possible to keep people safe during this pandemic. They promise, though, to be back next year. I know a lot of people, Betsy, are certainly looking forward to that.
Right, and all the kids who put in all the work with their animals and projects, certainly our hearts go out to them, too. Hopefully not too disappointed about it.
1 year.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Right.
Thank you, Laura.
Sure.
Well, of course, we are also keeping a very close eye on the COVID-19 cases here in Ohio, and the numbers today have surged. There are now 34,566 reported cases. That's up 651 from yesterday, which is higher than we've been seeing on a daily basis recently. That increase has hovered in the high 400s. The number of people who have died and have been hospitalized are also higher than what we have been seeing. Well, Ohio restaurants that survived the coronavirus pandemic have a new challenge on their hands, rehiring their workers. As 3 News investigator Rachel Polanski reports, many Ohioans are making more money collecting unemployment than they did when they were working.
While state unemployment pays 40% of a person's salary, the Federal CARE Act passed by Congress pays an additional $600 per week. So for some workers, it pays more not to work. 2 important things to remember here. 1, the extra $600 a week won't last.
Is short term. It runs out in July.
And 2, if your employer tries to rehire you and you refuse the job, you won't get your unemployment money.
You could find yourself quickly having all of your unemployment benefits cut off if you refuse a legitimate job offer.
And employers are required to tell the unemployment office if they've offered you your job back.
It's disheartening to have to compete with unemployment.
And coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll take you inside a Northeast Ohio restaurant to show you how they're dealing with this exact problem. Rachel Polanski, 3 News.
Well, let's talk about something positive, shall we? No exact date has been set yet, but Cedar Point is going to reopen this season. Big news for all you Iron Dragon fans. It's not going to be exactly the same. There's going to be some changes, so here's what to expect when you visit. You're going to need to make a reservation online now through the park's app. Once you reserve a day and time, you'll receive a time-bound entry voucher in the app. Visitors have to do a health check before entering, which includes a questionnaire. And the park is adding cashless payment options and mobile food ordering to eliminate long lines. Their app will also monitor where people are and if employees need to do any sort of crowd control in the park. And lastly, anyone who bought a season pass can process their pass online rather than going and processing it at the processing center inside the park. So that's good news. It's also time for our daily senior shout out, folks. Today we're putting the spotlight on Maya Hollander of Shaker Heights. She is an honor student at Shaker Heights High School, where she was part of SGORR, Student Group on Race Relations, in case you didn't know that, and after-school tutoring. She will be attending The Ohio State University in the fall. Congrats. Nice job, Maya. Hopping on planes and booking hotel rooms might be too much for a lot of people right now. So we're checking out some cheaper and safer options, like RVs. And Stephanie, what is clicking in Cleveland?
Mike, both the Cleveland Browns and the NBA have a plan to get back to work, and we'll break those down for you. Now, Betsy's on the weather for us today, too. How's it looking out there, Betsy?
Well, it's a little bit soggy right now, but things are going to start to change on us. As you can see, Western Ohio is already starting to clear their skies. That is coming our direction, everybody. We're going to talk about how this plays out for the weekend straight ahead.
Well, it's almost summer, and the sunshine is inviting. You know what that means. It's vacation time, folks. But some of us aren't ready to fly or stay in hotels quite yet. So we found you some safer options, easier on your wallet as well. Ace reporter Lindsay Buckingham has the breakdown.
We've been cooped up for months and itching for a change of scenery. Flying in hotels, still a no-go for many of us. But there's a popular travel trend this summer that might work better for you. RVs and campers.
We're not exposing ourselves by flying, we're driving, we're controlling our environment. A way safer way, and it's pretty inexpensive if you do it right.
Budget travel blogger and lifestyle expert Lindsay Myers says it's all about getting outside to explore.
I think we're inside so much that we're thriving. We need the fresh air and sun and adventure and experiences.
And RV rentals range in price. So if you're tight on cash, there's options.
They can range to about like $100 a night. Some of them that if you have a hitch, you can actually get the ones that, that aren't driving, and they're way cheaper.
Plus, you can save money by cooking in, and parking at campgrounds is pretty cheap.
You guys have tons in Ohio, some really great ones that I found. About $50 a night. And I also always tell people, if you have the option to have a kitchen, which most RV and campers do, you're already saving so much money because you're not eating out.
Or if you're looking to splurge,
they have these souped up ones that are beautiful with the kitchens.
No matter what style you're rolling in, there's plenty of places to see and websites to help navigate your RV trip, even right here in Ohio.
I'm obsessed with this new website called Harvest Host. You pay $79 for the year, and then you're a member. And then once you do that, they connect you with over 1,000 different places across the United States. So we're talking about wineries, farms, breweries.
Well, Lindsay, I'm ready to get lost. I love your idea. I'm gonna rent an RV, go to the winery.
And no worries if this still doesn't work for you. Try this.
Just do something special, make something exciting for you and your family. You could camp in your backyard. You can have movie night with a projector in your backyard. Have theme nights, have a fiesta. It's just all about changing this up and being excited.
Lindsay Buckingham, 3 News.
Thanks, Lindsay. If any of those ideas make you want to hit the road, or maybe the RV life might seem appealing to you right now, we have all kinds of information for you at WKYC.com where you can learn more. How about you, Betsy? Is that the life for you? Out on the road? On an RV?
I grew up camping. I love camping. My parents had a travel trailer. We would go all, over to a couple different campgrounds. I have had the wonderful pleasure of taking my girls camping too. We've been to Findlay State Park. We've been to Geneva State Park. So we've already hit it. So other than tailgating, Mike Polk, have you done any camping?
Oh yeah, I've done my share. Hey, I'm a Star Scout in the Boy Scouts. All right, just so you know, I made it to that rank. So I know my way around the woods. I'm actually going camping tomorrow. Am I going to be miserable, or is it going to rain on me? Is it going to be 700 degrees? What's coming at us?
Take a good sleeping bag. It's going to be chilly, but I think the weather overall is going to be fantastic. Good campfire weather at that too. So make sure you have good mickens for s'mores. Let's take a look at how things are going to be outside this evening. If you do have some patio plans, it's a little soggy now. We'll give it a couple hours to dry out, but then late evening, I think things clear out beautifully. Grab a sweater, get out there. It may still feel a little damp, but all in all, things won't be too bad. Here's a look at the radar, and you can see things are very soggy. As a matter of fact, downtown Cleveland, I'm listening to the rain that's hitting the roof here at our studios, and we have a look at Skycam, or our CSU cam here across downtown Cleveland. And it's gray. It's not terrible. I mean, we don't have this huge thunderstorm happening here, but you can see those gray skies out there. This is kind of par for the course here for the next hour or two. So back to the radar we go, because off to the west then, things are drying out. Sandusky, maybe just a few showers lingering. Same for you in Vermilion, then down to the Mansfield area. But the big push of the stormy weather is moving over toward the state line area, and we just have plain old rain showers that are coming down along the I-71 corridor. That is just a moderate rain. These rainfall intensity rates have been kind of interesting to watch through the day today. You could definitely tell where the heat was. The heat adds energy to thunderstorms. Thunderstorms become very efficient rain producers, and where the best heat is, we're going to have the highest rain rates, and that is right now going on outside of our viewing area. Yes. So that basically means once we get through these rain showers, things are going to get a whole lot better for us. How much rain has already fallen? Well, the heaviest rain has been down here around the Mount Vernon area. They've picked up anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. But we've had a couple places up here in some parts of northeast Ohio that have exceeded an inch. We may tack on another 1/4 of an inch or so for areas farther to the east as these thunderstorms continue to rumble out of here. But the bigger picture shows a nice big dry area to the west. This moves in tonight, maybe just a few little showers kicking up. And then the clouds that you see coming through portions of Wisconsin, that's all associated with the colder air. That's where temperatures are in the 60s. That's what we have coming for tomorrow. But the good news that you don't see here, even though the temperatures are getting cooler, it's going to be drying out. The humidity has been brutal today. It's like an instant sweat when you stepped outside. Once you get to the west of us here, where the dew points are in the 40s, that is super comfortable air that gets here tomorrow. So let's go hour by hour in your National Design Mart forecast. The rain moves out. We'll have cooler, drier air moving in through the night. You're going to see some stars later on tonight. Maybe a few clouds here and there as we go through the overnight. But by tomorrow morning, I think partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies will greet us for the day. We'll have a few fair weather clouds around in the afternoon, but temperatures tomorrow will not make it out of the 60s. It'll be even cooler along the lakeshore, probably stuck in the 50s and low 60s. Universal Windows Direct forecast has just a few clouds around tomorrow, then sunshine for Sunday and Monday. We recover nicely back into a streak of very pleasant days. Even though we have shower and thunderstorm chances, that's okay. We got the gardens in, so now we've got to water them. Always good to have free water, and of course lightning is free fertilizer, so we'll just kind of take it as we go. But right now, a week from today is looking pretty darn nice. Mike?
I'm sorry that I didn't know that lightning was like free fertilizer. Why is that again, just real quick?
So lightning, because of its heat and its intensity, it actually changes the nitrogen in the atmosphere to a usable form of nitrogen for plants.
Wow, I like how you act like we all know lightning makes amazing fertilizer. You weather nerd, I love it. If you're like me and you haven't,
so green.
If you're like me and you, I know. If you're like me and you haven't left your house in a couple of months, that means you had plenty of time to binge watch a new TV series. In fact, probably several of them. So I'm sure you're wondering which shows got the most views. Lucky for you, Stephanie Haney will have the answer on the other side of the break.
Mike check. We have great news for Cleveland Browns fans.
The team will continue to work with university hospitals to
Welcome back to What's New, everybody. It's time once again to check out what is clicking in Cleveland with our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, what's going on around town?
Mike, we have very good news for football fans on this Friday. The Cleveland Browns have a plan to get back to work. Not everybody just yet, though, but they're getting back in there. This is starting on Monday, which is June 1st, if you can believe it's already June. A few employees will be allowed back inside the main facility in Berea and also First Energy Stadium right here downtown. That's according to Browns Executive Vice President and COO David Jenkins. He says they've been working closely with university hospitals and will keep doing that to make sure they keep the coaches, staff, players, and the community here in Cleveland safe throughout this process. The NBA also has a plan to get back on the court. Theirs is a little further out, though. We're looking at the end of July there. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said on a call today that July 31st is the target return date. That's according to The Athletic and Stadium. Now remember, it is still highly unlikely that all of the teams will be back in action, and the only way the Cavs will get a chance to improve that rough record of 19-46 is if the league decides to go with a 72-game regular season before moving on to playoffs. But all of those other straight to playoff scenarios are much more likely, and Ben Axelrod breaks those down for us on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Now, while sports have been off the air, we have a pretty good idea of what you have been watching thanks to CableTV.com. The site has crunched the numbers, and here in Ohio we have two favorites. We're one of 6 states with everyone hooked on crime dramas. We especially love NCIS, apparently, and we're also one of 11 states, that includes California and Florida, who can't get enough of watching Friends right now. Maybe that's because everybody is really missing their real-life friends. So a couple other notable ones to mention: Game of Thrones, The Office. We're all kind of just settling into those ones that we know and love. Mine is Sex and the City. Mike, what's your go-to binge?
I would say, I'd say Game of Thrones. And I know it's kind of basic, but it's just such a great show. I'm still learning about those characters. Thanks, Stephanie. Well, the zoo's I like to wave at you, by the way. Thanks. The zoo is getting creative with how they let people back in. I check out the cruise, the zoo, and give my honest review. Who made that rhyme? I need names. And by now you've probably read every book you own out of pure boredom. We have a few suggestions to keep you entertained off social media. That's a good move right now. Plus, Twitter gave President Trump a warning for his tweet about the Minneapolis riots. We have a live report from D.C. with the latest information. Stay tuned.
Hi, yeah, gotcha. Oh, I don't have my mic. Okay, now I hear you. Hi. Okay, President Trump's, the protests in the clashes.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you so much for staying with us here on What's New. I'm Betsy Kling here in the WKYC Studios, and I'm starting to crack up already because I get to say Chateau Polk, where Mike Polk joins us, filling in for Jay. It is. It's just a fun way to...
Gotta make sure and put that little accent over the A, or else it loses its classiness over the in the chateau.
We
That's
really
key.
had to dive deep in the keyboard alt features to try and find that, so we're very proud of
you gotta hit like
ourselves
7
for that.
buttons at the same time to spell my home.
Exactly. All right, we need some good news, so now we fire up our Tell Me Something Good segment. So, Mike, that's in your wheelhouse.
We have got a great one for you today. This one even melted my cynical heart. It's an update to a story that many of us can't forget. It's hard to forget this video. People cheered for 74-year-old Jerry Guston as he left University Hospital's Parma Medical Center Wednesday. He spent 2 months there battling coronavirus. Our Laura Queso talked with him this afternoon. He was in his living room, relaxing in his comfy chair, a place he wasn't sure he'd see again. We asked the Navy veteran husband, father, and grandfather the first thing he did when he got home.
Kiss my wife, hold my wife, hug my kids. I came home and I walked around the house, came in, sat down, and I go, by God, I am home. And I was so happy. I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe it. It was the best feeling in the world.
Jerry is using a walker, but he feels pretty good. He says breathing on his own is a blessing. Tonight on What's Next at 11, he shares what he missed doing at home while he was in the hospital. It's something we all might take for granted.
That is such a great story. We love to see those stories of recovery, certainly. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. We move on now to our top talker. Today, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was charged with murdering George Floyd. He's now facing third-degree murder and manslaughter charges. Floyd's death has sparked days of protests and riots. President Trump created quite the controversy with his reaction on Twitter, writing, quote, "These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Any difficulty, and we will assume control, but when the looting starts, the shooting starts," end quote. That tweet got flagged by Twitter. NBC's Alice Barr joins me now. And Alice, why did Twitter flag the president's tweet?
Betsy, Twitter said that tweet violated company policy by glorifying violence. And Twitter specifically referenced the historical context for that phrase, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. It's a phrase that was used by a Miami police chief during the 1960s when there was unrest in that city at that time. And at that time, that police chief was widely denounced as racist by civil rights leaders and others at the time as well. Betsy?
Well, there's already been some back and forth between President Trump and various social media platforms. So what was the president's response to Twitter?
Right, so he is already in a feud with Twitter. You know, over the past few days, he's been fact-checked by them. He's signed an executive order basically threatening to take away legal restriction or legal regulations from those social media giants if he perceives that they are taking a political side over an issue. So he was clearly very unhappy about this. The White House official page actually then posted the same tweet, and Twitter did the same thing, put that warning on that version as well. Later, President Trump did tweet a clarification. He was saying that what he actually meant was that lootings lead to shootings, and he referenced shootings that have occurred over the past several days in Minneapolis and Louisville amid the unrest there. And he also said this afternoon that he had spoken with the Floyd family, that he feels their pain and that they deserve justice, but also the people of Minnesota deserve to live in safety.
Alice Barr joining us live. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Well, it's time now to check on what else is making headlines with Laura Queso. Laura, back in the newsroom. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Betsy. Let's talk coronavirus cases right now, shall we? Because we have more cases to report to you. There are now 34,566 confirmed cases. That's an increase of 651 from yesterday. However, keep in mind, as Dr. Amy Acton has said, there is often a lag when the state gets its information from local health departments. Several European countries have now stopped the use of the malaria drug hydroxychloroquine on COVID-19 patients because of some serious side effects. France, Italy, and Belgium are essentially banning it, saying the risks outweigh any potential benefits. President Trump has touted the drug as a treatment for coronavirus, and he's even taken it as a precautionary measure against the virus. This comes as no surprise. Consumer spending is down almost 14% in April. Because of the pandemic, stores were shuttered and people stayed home. April's drop was far worse than March's 7% drop, which at the time, Betsy, was a record breaker. But we have had many months of staying home because we have to. So I guess, yeah, it is no surprise.
It isn't. Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Mike?
By now, I'm sure everyone is going stir crazy in your house. I take a drive through the cruise at the zoo, and you'll get my take on it next. And Betsy, how's the weather looking?
Well, it's still raining out there, but not for long. We will start to see some clearing out here in the next couple of hours that will lead us into cooler temperatures this weekend. We're going to break it all down for you coming up.
And now it's time for today's pop quiz. Fill in the blank, folks. Ohio was the what state admitted into the Union? A, 11th, B, 15th, C, 17th. We'll have the answer when we get back. No Googling. You'll know. And now it's time for the answer to our pop quiz. Fill in the blank, people. Ohio was the what state admitted into the Union? And the answer is C. That's right, it's 17th. The state's official birthday is March 1st, 1803. I got that right, just so you guys know. Pretty proud of myself. Cleveland Metro Park Zoo closed to the public back in March, unfortunately. And then through the end of April, the zoo's revenue is down over $1.5 million. That's not good. I'm a huge fan of the zoo myself, and I was excited that they created a special fundraising event that they say will help us support the zoo during this downtime and its animal care efforts while we're all having some fun at the same time. So, of course, I had to check it out for myself. It's Cruise at the Zoo. Check it out.
Thanks for having us, first of all, on the tour.
Thanks for coming out.
So what kind of a tour am I about to go on right now?
So this is our Cruise the Zoo experience. Since the middle of March and the zoo's been closed, we've created this special event fundraiser. So you're able to drive your vehicle through the zoo on a special route. You can see some entertainers, lots of zoo animals.
I noticed you have characters and stuff coming out. Do the kids dig that?
Yeah, what we try to do is make it as fun as possible. So to try and supplement that, we brought in some entertainment. There's a scavenger hunt. We've got our snacks there. We've got a gift shop. There's photo booth opportunity. So lots of activities for the family as you're staying safe in your car.
Are you worried about having to transition us back into having to walk around the zoo after we've all gotten used to driving around the zoo?
I am looking forward to the day when we can get reopened to foot traffic. I'm really excited about that. We'll deal with the exercise problems later.
Cruise the Zoo, sponsored by Dollar Bank. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming out, Mike.
Let's do it.
And I'll tell you what, right out of the gate, they have like characters out here greeting us. Thank you for your service. You know, I've never really gotten to experience the zoo this way. And I gotta tell you, this is kind of nice. We're up here at Tiger Passage. Thank you for allowing us to drive through your home. We're just passing through. They got an app that you can use as you go to each of these stations.
Welcome to Roseboro Tiger Passage, home to our 2 armored tigers, Zoya and Hector.
That's a fancy desert horse. That's the technical term. What a pleasant day to not walk. Now this bear seems very attentive today. Hey guys, how are you adjusting to the new drive-through service? There's a real Jurassic Park vibe to this. Here, reindeer. Just catching a lot of antler right now. Oh gosh, here we go. Great crossover. Thank you, Spider-Man. Why aren't you dressed as Thor? Come on. Oh, okay, giraffe to the right. I'm fine with observing nature in this manner. You can listen to classic rock while you're in here. Like imagine just passing those giraffes and hearing, slow ride, take it easy. Oh, there's the flamingos. Will you look at them? Hey, flamingos, did you guys know that you are the official symbol of Parma, our largest suburb? And the elephants are out to party. Thank you for having us in your zoo. I hope you're enjoying that net full of hay. You deserve it. Slow ride, it's a zebra. So that was a nice little zoo tour. I asked Dr. Chris if he wanted me to perform alongside the other costume people. He said it's not necessary, but I'm just gonna take this into my own hands. As a long-standing Cleveland Zoo member, I feel like it's my duty to help this event flourish. I don't represent the zoo officially. You can drive through. It's a drive-through zoo now. It's zoo time, people. Okay. Well, I think that probably helped. This is Mike for 3 News, doing his part for the community.
Okay.
Some teens yelled at me. Definitely recommend checking it out, though, folks, and supporting our zoo. We have all the info about it on WKYC.com. Check it out.
Have they asked you if you will come back out in, I'm assuming, what was a Power Rangers costume?
That was, I believe, a child-sized Iron Man costume I was wearing. But I don't want that to reflect upon the zoo in any way. It's a wonderful event. You should go check it out. I promise I will not be there dressed as Iron Man if you attend.
That's worth it right there, the guarantee. Certainly, everybody likes that. All right, Mikey, thank you so much.
How's that? No problem. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, let's talk about the forecast, because you know there are people who have convertibles, and driving through the zoo in a convertible could actually be super cool. If you don't have a convertible, though, as you saw, Mike just had the windows down. Got a great thrill out of that, too. We've got some very refreshing air that's moving in, and I know what you're thinking, everybody. When can I do the yard work? Well, here you go. Both Saturday and Sunday, we have thumbs up. It is a sweat-free forecast for doing the yard work, unless you really have some heavy lifting to do. Look how the rain is just going away. Signs are definitely going in the right direction, aren't they? The yellows are turning into greens, and that means we are starting to really start to see the punch taken out of this. So showers continue to move eastbound now, just crossing over portions of the I-77 corridor, headed out toward Lake Geauga Lake Geauga, Portage counties. Stark County, you got another surge of rain coming in. I think you're going to miss out on this one for the most part. Areas around Sugar Creek, Bolivar, Dover, New Philadelphia. We're still draining out though, and what you see in these green boxes, those are flood warnings and advisories. The flood advisory is basically meaning that there's just a lot of water sitting around. Where you get flood warnings, that means it could be impactful, closing roads and maybe have to divert around a little bit. The rain rates are also coming down at this point, so we're really going to start to see things drain out. So my guess is that those flood advisories and warnings will come down early. They're expected right now to continue into the evening, but I think the main threat is over. The heaviest rain in much of the lakeshore areas was out in Lorain County. Farther south, we had a good swath of rain across areas around Holmes County and back into Morrow County. All of that, of course, will just drain out. Now we get the dry air that's moving in. It is cooler air. It's a little bit of a trade-off, but by the end of the evening, I think we're even going to get to see a really nice sunset here in Greater Cleveland. Out toward Ashtabula, it might be a little bit mistimed, but the temperatures are in the 60s in the northern portion of the Great Lakes. That is the cool air. It's also considerably drier air. The last few days we've been talking about dew points that are in the 50s and 60s and even 70s at times. When we're in the 50s, it's kind of comfortable. Low 50s is comfortable. Upper 50s, you start to get borderline uncomfortable. But the 40s is just straight up beautiful. And we have this dry air that's coming in. So let's go through your National Designer hour-by-hour forecast. What's left of the rain will be moving out. That will help us to clear out as we get into the overnight hours. I don't think we're going to have any fog formation. Could have some light fog here and there if we clear out because winds are going to back off. But you can see the temperatures at midnight will be in the mid-50s. That's a pretty big drop. Tomorrow morning, early morning, we'll see those 50s quickly rising back toward the 60-degree mark. And I think for the most part tomorrow afternoon, we are going to see that typical north-south spread. With the north wind, it's that lake influence on the immediate lakeshore areas. So downtown will be in the upper 50s and low 60s. Tropical Dover, letting it be known, they're going to be in the upper 60s and even the possibility of the 70s tomorrow afternoon as those mostly sunny skies are expected to continue. We got nothing but sun in your forecast for Sunday in your Universal Windows Direct Outlook. There you see it. The sun continues into Monday with highs right around 70. Mid-70s return once we get to Tuesday, so there's a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Better chances for rain and rumbles on Wednesday. Then we'll clear it out again on Thursday. And right now that would set us up for Friday, which is looking phenomenal. And that would lead us into what is probably going to be another beautiful weekend. Mike?
That is a lot of good stuff to look forward to, and I do like your promise that it's not going to feel like I'm walking around inside someone's mouth pretty soon, because that's what it feels like outside right now, and I think you know that.
You have to put it in the grossest way possible.
I'm being very vivid and visceral to engage the viewers. Thank you, Betsy. I'm sorry. I know. It's time now for your daily dose of entertainment news. Stephanie Haney has the scoop on Kylie Jenner's billionaire status getting yanked and much more in your Daily Pop break. Stephanie?
Kylie Jenner is fighting back on claims that she inflated profits and even forged tax documents to make herself look like a real billionaire after Forbes yanked the title they gave her in 2018. On Twitter today, the makeup mogul said, "I've never asked for any title or tried to lie my way there, ever, period." Then she offered a little perspective, writing, "I can name a list of 100 things right now more important than fixating on how much money I have, like the police killing of George Floyd." On Instagram, she wrote, "We're currently dealing with 2 horrific pandemics in our country, and we can't sit back and ignore the fact that racism is one of them. I fear for my daughter, and I hope for a better future for her." Other celebs are coming together to bail out Minneapolis protesters. Steve Carell, Ben Schwartz, Seth Rogen, and Lin-Manuel Miranda have shared screenshots of their donations to the Minnesota Freedom Fund, asking fans and their other famous friends to help out too. A rep for the nonprofit told Rolling Stone that they're still counting the money, but tens of thousands of dollars have already come in, and that's the power of Twitter. Sometimes. And 2 talented artists dropped new albums today. Country artist Kip Moore blessed fans with his new album, Wild World, where things get raw. He told Entertainment Tonight, "I'm a little more honest in my music than I am in real life," while talking his new tracks about love, life, and loss. And legendary Lady Gaga finally released her long-awaited 6th studio album, Welcome to Chromatica, including her Rain on Me single with Ariana Grande and songs featuring Blackpink and Elton John. Not a bad weekend lineup, if you ask me.
The
collaboration with Lady Gaga and Elton John is a very surprising one. It's called Sign from Above, and it's spelled S-I-N-E, like the sound wave. And it's actually an electronic dance club mix, which is not what we're used to hearing from Elton John at all. People are loving it, and if someone was going to take a risk like this together, it was going to be Elton John and Gaga. Mike, they are very close. She's actually the godmother of his 2 sons.
I'm actually surprised to hear that they have not collaborated thus far. I think I can't believe it took this long, but I'm excited to hear it. I like both of them as artists, and that's great. That's my 2 cents on that no one asked for. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Mike.
The weather this weekend will be perfect for curling up and reading a book. We have some recommendations for you to help you escape from reality. And our Worth the Watch has me scratching my head. One cobbler's solution to help people practice social distancing is a bit weird. Stay tuned.
Well, if you've already binge watched everything there is to binge watch on television, you can kick it old school and grab a book. Believe it or not, there's actually more books than television shows on this planet. I know, it's crazy to think about, but our friends at the Cleveland Public Library gave us some ideas in case you're looking for a new title to go ahead and grab. They have suggested something from the chick lit, not gum, books genre.
By adult picks that's really fun is called The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, and it's about this woman named Olive and just has bad luck and is recently unemployed, and her sister is just perfect and is having this perfect wedding, and Olive gets stuck in this bright green bridesmaid's dress, and people said she looks like a Skittle and having an awful day. And the worst part about it is that she is stuck with the best man, who she thinks is a complete snob.
I know what you're thinking. As soon as that becomes a chick flick, then you'll see it. No. This is the whole point. Grab a book. We've got some more ideas for you. If you're more in the mood for something that you'll have you'll be going through very quickly, flipping those pages, here's a thriller suggestion.
My other pick for adults is a thriller called The Sundown Motel. It's by Simone St. James, and it's about a woman who goes back to investigate the disappearance of her aunt in the early 80s at a motel where she was the night clerk. So she moves to this town, gets kind of wrapped up in all of these different mysteries, and tries to find out what happened to her aunt.
We have those books all written down for you on WKYC.com. Thank you so much to our friends at the Cleveland Public Library. They're also rolling out more programs now, hoping to resume book checkouts soon, but also offering legal aid for all and trauma relief for Metro Health staff through virtual programs. They're such a great resource. Well, still ahead, one cobbler is getting super creative to make sure people are practicing social distancing. You don't want to miss this.
Well, it's now time for our Worth the Watch video. And Betsy, we've got a hot one for you tonight. This is a Romanian cobbler. Don't get mad. I know you're like another Romanian cobbler story, but listen, this one's actually very interesting. He found a way to make sure that people are social distancing properly. He made shoes that are a size 75. The creator says if two people wearing the shoes face each other, they would be about 5 feet apart. So very close to the 6-foot rule. He says his business is at a standstill because of the pandemic and that he's relying on theaters and opera houses for these big shoes. Those are some big shoes, Betsy.
Those are definitely some big shoes. I'd have to think that Cyrano de Bergerac would be so proud to wear those. He'd have a little balance in his life.
Really solid reference right there. Nice job, BK. Thank you so much for watching What's New, everybody.
What Matters Most with Laura starts right now.